two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Coffees with Toffees podcast. And this is the Brewmaster's Draft, a show where we talk about drafting and a little bit about beer, just so you guys can stay up to date, obviously, on everything that's new with Dota and beer, the two most important things in life. And as always, my co-host is here with me today, my co-host Kimbrell, and I myself am Flubb. And I want to start off this week a little bit different. I want to ask Kimber how he's doing because I haven't really had much contact with him, even though I'm on a team with him and I'm doing shows with him. So, Kimber, how have you been, buddy?
I've been great. Yeah, we actually haven't been in a lot of contact. This last week was a little crazy. There was just a lot going on with school. Even though it was spring break for me, I still had a bunch of papers to write and stuff like that. And then I helped my friends move, and it's just been nonstop craziness. But it's been good. Dota-wise, it's been pretty good. I have a Smurf that I've been working on, and I've finally gotten to where I can rank or calibrate or whatever. So I'm at that point. So that's been pretty fun.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, it's been pretty good. Have no complaints.
Yeah.
How about you?
Pretty good. I have been really enjoying this new draft style. Not draft style, but these new changes that have kind of, once again, thrown a loop into everything, and it's like obviously it's a patch, but it's like an added layer to what 7.003 where it really was. So it's been a lot of fun. I haven't been able to try out everything I've wanted so far because it's only been a little under a week now. So there's not quite as much as I would love to see. So I'm glad that you're doing it this week. I'm glad you're doing the draft this week, and hopefully you have a better handle on this, and I think I have a good enough handle, but it's always good to let you go first and trudge through the untraveled so far.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so what beer are we drinking today? I want you to go first. Let's talk about your beer.
So I actually have nothing special today. I was going to stop by the liquor store on the way home, and I decided I wanted a cold beer instead of warm beer because Oklahoma laws, we talked about that. So I have the best kind of beer, and that kind of beer is free beer. My buddy came over a while ago, brought some beer over, and left it, and it's like his signature go-to beer. It's nothing special. I haven't had it since I was in high school, so taste buds have changed a little bit. So
high school. What?
Yeah. Well, okay. Sorry, we don't want to condone underage drinking here. Sorry. Since I was 21. Right. So yeah, but I haven't had it since. I never really liked it. But anyway, it's just a Corona. That's all I have today. But
nice.
I have a nifty little bottle opener. It's like a Predator thing that I got in Loot Box or whatever, or Loot Crate. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited to kind of try it because I haven't had one, like I said, since I was 21. Maybe I'll actually like them this time, so we'll see.
Yep. Yeah.
What about you?
You may be disappointed. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Coronas, but it's okay. It's okay. Actually, under the same idea, I have free beer myself, and I have to actually do a shout out real quick because Frozen, a friend of mine that I met at TI, someone I've been playing with Dota a little under a year now. It's a real big supporter of this show in general. He hooked me up with some California beers, and sadly Kimbrell couldn't get in on this. Me and him had been talking about it before, but his state doesn't allow this silliness, so
terrible liquor laws.
So I got hooked up with a bunch of beers. So actually, I'm going to be talking about a lot of them as the weeks go by. Probably for the next month at least. I'm going to have these beers from Beachwood BBQ. So it's there's two different places that they have out in California, and I think that what I've been reading online. They are basically just a brewery that has like a restaurant style up front, and they do a lot of barbecue. So it sounds like my place. I love barbecue and beer, so this place sounds great, and I'm very excited to try their beer alongside it. And at the same time, I'm trying Frozen's favorite beer, and it's the Torva. I'm gonna butcher this, but it's the Tovarish, I think. It's a Imperial Russian stout, and it's a coffee stout. So I'm really excited to try this out. It's a big one. It's it's actually a pint. So I'm going to I have my mug beside me, and I'm gonna try to pour this out and not make it too foamy on top. It's been a while. Normally I just go by the bottle a lot of times because it's in here it's cold, whenever. So, but it's actually really cool. This bottle it was dipped in wax. Like the top of it, like I don't know if you could see this right here, but it was dipped in wax, and I was like, "Oh man, I feel like I'm in like in the 1980s or 19 not 1980s, but 1800s. I'm like opening up a
Yeah.
beer, tearing it off, like George Washington sent me this special or something, or not George Washington because I'd be older, but colonial times.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Megan, my fiance, actually got me a beer like that. It was like a special, like I think it was like a Lord of the Rings type of beer, like the brand or something like that. It was something weird, but it had that kind of top on it. It was actually kind of cool. Like I definitely I felt what you're feeling.
Yeah, yeah, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I should open this or it actually took me like I'm not joking, like 10 minutes to pry off the thing, which is not a good selling point for it, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. I was excited. I was like, man, I've never opened a beer like this before, and oh man, if you are a coffee lover, holy cow, I gotta say that already. That is very, very coffee. Mm, tastes pretty good.
Mm.
I'll have to sip on that more and give a better description of it. I'll actually read off what they have online here. Might as well, give you guys a full taste of what this beer is. The Tovarish is a bold Russian imperial stout brewed with a base of British barley and heaping amounts of roasted barley and specialty malts. It's finished with a touch of backstrap molasses, along with an espresso brewed with the finest Arabian Mocha-Java coffee from our friends at Portola Coffee Lab. So the Tovarish is extremely rich, complex. It savors layers of roast and dark fruits with every sip. And I can completely agree with that. That is a very, very dark beer. If you like dark beer, you gotta try this out when you're in California next. But before we get it too much into beer and I keep talking for too long, Kimbrell, why don't you talk about your draft today? I'm excited to hear it.
Okay. Um, yeah, my draft. So, like I said earlier, I had a busy weekend. I was helping friends move. Yesterday, I was doing a paper, and then we decided mid-paper, the professional procrastinator that I am, I was off. They asked if I wanted to go to the bar for a little bit, celebrate their move to their bigger, better house, and I was like, absolutely. So I went and did that. And I just kind of procrastinated and finally finished my paper last night, actually this morning, and then realized I have a show, I have a podcast to do today. I should probably think of a draft. So it's not the most perfect draft. I don't think we can come up with perfect drafts every week. Otherwise, we would be like, going to TI next year or something, or this year. So,
Of course.
Anyway, my
nothing
draft.
to do with skill, right? It's all the draft, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, my draft is, I would say, pretty team fight oriented. I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I actually had two drafts that I thought of today, and this one felt more fun. Both of them felt like they would be good. This one just felt fun. And the heroes were Earth Spirit, in this order. The picking order would be Earth Spirit, Vengeful Spirit, Axe, Tinker, and Phoenix. It's pretty straightforward. I think you can kind of figure out where everybody's going. Tinker's going mid. Phoenix is your support along with Earth Spirit. Then you have your Vengeful carry and your Axe off lane. It's pretty straightforward. I feel like it provides a really good team fight. I think a lot of it revolves around your egg. So whenever you have your egg ready, it's kind of like any other big ultimate. Like you want to fight while that's up. Like it's great to fight while that's up. The main thing about it that I was thinking, I was seeing some play during the DAC tournament, and I did see a Phoenix Axe combo, and I was like, I like that. I think I've actually ran that before. And they comboed it with Medusa. I think it was Invictus that ran it. I think they ended up losing. However, I really liked the combo. The Medusa was kind of odd because it does slow them and it makes egg kind of impossible to hit. However, egg doesn't really affect anybody if they're turned to stone, and people are just able to, I don't know, it just felt a little weird. So I went with this just because I like like I said, I like the axe pick with the Phoenix. And then the Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit's going to roam. I don't play that hero very often. You're our Earth Spirit player. Thank God, because otherwise that hero would never be picked. That hero would roam. And then I was thinking about the issue with safe lane would be Phoenix has nothing to kind of help out Vengeful. However, Vengeful has a stun, and Phoenix has Sunray, which heals and does damage. So I kind of like that scenario. And then also Earth Spirit's able to stay bottom lane or rotate back to bottom lane and almost, not I wouldn't say guaranteed, depending on who the matchup is, but a kill would come by pretty easily, I think. Even if you rotate both supports, like that's, I wouldn't say guaranteed kill because you have to land your stun. If you land your stun on Earth Spirit and then you're rolling boulder, like that's a kill. So anyway, I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. Also, another nice little thing that I thought of with the Tinker pick, one, it provides your pushing ability, your split pushing ability. At least with creeps, he doesn't really hit the towers very well, obviously, but that's the main problem with this draft, I think, is they don't push very well. Excuse me, they don't push very well on towers. So if they take a team fight, they're probably only get like one tower before the team's back up. Anyway, one thing I did like about the fighting, when Tinker's able to start fighting more often, has that Ags, his laser, like, unless they have BKB, makes it impossible to hit the egg. And I thought that was really cool. I was thinking about it, and I was like, Phoenix Egg is actually like invulnerable for a couple of seconds while that laser is blinding them unless they have BKB. So anyway, I just really enjoyed it. I was thinking about it and just kind of theory crafting in my head today. And it was something that I came up with and thought it would be really fun to play. So
Yeah, it's definitely, it has a lot of interesting layers to it, and that's what a draft needs to have for it to be successful. So I see where you're going with it. I want to like applaud you on the idea of doing Earth Spirit with a Phoenix. I think that Phoenix is generally a support that's incredibly weak, and he's incredibly weak because he only offers a slow that is very, very long cooldown, and he has damage output and things that he can do that are like useful as a support, whether it's like his Sunray being able to heal people. I mean, he can kind of get away obviously with dive if you don't have certain heroes that can kind of stop that. He has a lot of potential for what he can do for like actual damage though, and what he kind of brings to the table and what he can like turn a fight around, especially versus a try v try. And he has all this potential in that area, but he doesn't do what a support is like generally thought to do, which is lock someone down, silence them, or put some type of dot damage on him. And he does do dot damage, obviously, because he's like made of dot damage. But Earth Spirit does all of that, and if you can like stack the dots and make sure that they're not purgeable, which Sunray isn't purgeable, the egg isn't purgeable. So there's still a lot of like non-purgeable things that are coexisting, and then you can like kind of layer them, the ones that are purgeable. So it's still really strong draft, especially if they pick up uh, TA. Like TA doesn't necessarily work well versus Tinker because you can't blast her out of lane, but you can deny what she can hit. So that's very helpful in general to have that potential versus the TA. Whereas like Tinker is like pretty much guaranteed to get some farm, and then later on she's not gonna get. She's not gonna be as farmed as she normally is, and then two, she's gonna have to deal with all of this availability for dot damage. So makes a lot of sense on how you're layering it for certain heroes and certain combinations. I was thinking though, like with Axe, are you just are you saying that you like Axe with the Phoenix because of the heal, or what's your thought process on the Axe though, instead of another type of initiating hero in the offlane?
honestly, I mean, with the axe, yeah, it's the combo where you can also heal while he's taking that damage and he's spinning, and you're focusing your Sunray not only on axe but all the heroes that are around axe. So I mean, he's gonna have to land like a 2-3 plus call or something like that in order to be as effective as I'd like it to be. However, any other, you could honestly replace Axe with like a Faceless Void or a Centaur or something like that. Like it doesn't. It's the main thing is the low cooldown on, because Call's cooldown I believe is 8 seconds, right? Or it's 8 or 10 seconds. So it's just a low cooldown, like pseudo stun. So while Egg is going off, you're able to call them in that area, and they're not really able to do anything while Tinker's able to laser them. However, you could, like I said, you could stack that with a Faceless Void or with a Centaur or with honestly almost any offlane here, like a Clockwork as well. I just like the idea of Axe, like I said, being able to Sunray him and keep him alive while he's taking damage and spinning and blade milling and all that stuff. And those heroes are also taking the damage from the Sunray, and then which you don't either if you're gonna Sunray, you can't egg during the fight, or you can egg and not Sunray and keep your Axe alive. So it's kind of a catch-22. So like I said, I feel like any off lane would be pretty good with that.
Yeah, I just, when I was looking at your draft, I'm thinking, like, you brought up the point that, okay, I don't have a lot of push, which you kind of don't. Obviously, there's a lot of heroes that don't really hit towers. The thing that's kind of useful about the draft is that, obviously, Venge kind of creates people to be able to hit towers because she gives them more damage, and she's not unheard of to build a Deso on. It's not necessarily the item you want to go for on her, but it's not. I mean, it still works really well, especially in the carry type role. So it makes a lot of sense that you have that. And then Tinker, if you don't have a really fast pushing lineup, it's great to have someone that has that high ground potential where Tinker does. Like, it's really hard to push tier 3s versus a Tinker. So it makes a lot of sense on that end of the spectrum. I was just thinking, all right, so if you got Axe as your offlaner, why not give someone who has a potential of like tanking even more? Put that Centaur up there, make him actually tank a tower, and he can kind of split push by tanking towers and moving in that direction. Whereas,
go ahead, sorry.
No, that's cool. Whereas if you have the Axe, he has a lot of potential, a lot of ways to like make team fights even stronger. It's not as, I mean, it's more of a guarantee because it goes through BKBs, but you already have Venge to be able to swap through BKB if you really need to stop something. So it's kind of like having a situation where you're like, okay, I need to have someone who initiates that also can pseudo push, and I like the Centaur a little bit better. Maybe even going for someone like Beastmaster, because Beastmaster
that was what I was gonna interrupt you with earlier. Was Beastmaster would be pretty good as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
he provides the initiation. He doesn't have to tank through everything when he initiates because he's a decent amount of distance away, and that's like a guaranteed kill pretty much. So, and he also pushes a lot faster than Axe does, obviously. So I think Beastmaster would be good too. Centaur, I just went away from Centaur because he's such a flavor of the month pick right now. So I was just like, let's just think of somebody else. But Centaur would be great. He'd just do just as well. So
yeah, and it's understandable. Obviously, we're doing the show not to like do the things that the pros always do, because like I feel like Centaur just like goes into a draft no matter what right now. You just like throw him in and it works no matter what. So I totally agree with you there. So I'm looking at your draft at this point, and I'm seeing, all right. So if we do Beastmaster as well, we also get the Venge aura on my creeps, which he's gonna be spawning, right? I mean, he's gonna have that availability. Thing is I think that I would have to go into a different banning route for him. So there's a little difference in the drafting from that point. And as we're gonna go into like this whole banning thing, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So why don't you go through your bans and why you're gonna ban these heroes versus your team?
okay, so I just picked. I actually had an issue with my bans because I feel like mobile heroes would do decently against this lineup. Say an anti-mage. The only silence you really have until you get like a Hex on Tinker is the Earth Spirit silence. Well, once he gets Manta, locking him down is kind of hard besides call. So you're going to have to like time it like everything perfectly if he's there in the fight, or if you're catching him out of position or you're ganking him or something. You just need to make sure you like time everything correctly. That way he's not able to escape. I just feel like mobile heroes will kind of suck. Also, BKB heroes, so like built-in BKB, like Jug or Life Sealer. But um, I don't have Life Stealer on there. I actually thought about him, but I wasn't sure. So, and then I think I took Juggernaut off too. Anyway, I put Abaddon on the first. I feel like Abaddon's really good right now. He's really strong. The only issue with Abaddon, picking Abaddon against an Axe is Axe is able to Cooling Blade through Abaddon, but it's not. It's a little harder than you think. Like I've tried it multiple times, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him, and then you don't, and this ult just keeps going off. So, um, and then I picked uh, Weaver. He's a very mobile hero, and his Geminate attack is 2 procs. So Phoenix Egg in the early game, like, is pretty much just dead unless you combo correctly with the stun or with the Axe Call or something like that, or the Tinker's there or something. Otherwise, the Geminate attack that's 2 hits on the egg, and I think it's four hits at level 1, and it kind of sucks. And then I picked Animage. Like I said earlier, he's a very mobile hero, and this team, besides Tinker, wants to team fight. Tinker wants to team fight later, but for a while he wants to split push. I mean, even later he wants to split push too. But I feel like in AM, if he sits in the jungle while Tinker comes into the lane, like he can just kill him instantly with a basher, and just jump on him and he dies. So I felt like that was a good ban. And then Clockwork against Phoenix is hell. I played against it, and it's just like you're trying to dive away, and you're nope. It's like you're staying here and you're not doing anything. So you got to waste your egg or pray. I mean, you got to Venge swap. So that was another thing, is the Venge swap helps, but she's got to be there. She's your carry. So swapping her into that kind of a shaky situation, don't really know. Like, you have the heals to back it up too, but just want to cover the bases, make sure nobody's getting, like, the Phoenix isn't being interrupted during the ult or the Sun Ray or something like that. And then I picked Disruptor just because Disruptor, again, if he lays down his ult when you're trying to combo, like Phoenix dives in, tries to egg, and he lays down his ult while Axe is calling everyone, like it just doesn't work out. And also Disruptor versus Tinker and any of those heroes, especially like Phoenix, the only escape he has is Icarus dive, so be able to recall and then pretty much guarantee kill. So, but yeah, I feel like there are some other heroes you could replace. I definitely think you could put Life Sealer in there or Juggernaut in there. And there's probably some other heroes like an OD or something, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I have.
So I'm looking over your bands. I really like your draft, but I'm thinking over your bands, and I'm kind of going over them in my head. I now understand what you're feeling with Weaver, but if you have all this lockdown that's kind of like set up and all this explosive damage, which you do with Tinker and Axe, and keeping this availability of, not even worrying about having a Lincoln Sphere on a support at that point. And they kind of have to versus your team, right? They have to build a Lincoln Sphere or something to keep that Weaver alive, because not only do you have a stun from Earth, the stun silence from Earth Spirit, you have Axe Call, you have stun from Venge, you have a lot of CC availability, and you just have a lot of ways to keep the egg from existing. So I understand what you're saying with Weaver. I feel like he's like too squishy to exist, and kind of like the same thing with Abaddon is like, all right, if you're set on picking Axe instead of going for Centaur, if you're going for Centaur, he's a great band, but if you're going for Axe, you already have that lockdown. You can't like unpurge taunt, so it kind of
This is
is.
true.
It just, yeah. If you pick up the him in there, you're not gonna kill him, but you're gonna kill whoever else you pick up. Like, Abaddon can't heal that much as compared to like Dazzle or Oracle or something like that. Uh, and Clock is something that man, I love that hero, man. He's incredible, but his early game potential is where it's at, and I think it's a good band definitely versus Tinker. The only thing that I think that's something that you don't need to worry about is you can get a force staff on both Earth Spirit and Vengeful. And if you can force staff people out of that situation and you have like 2 easy carriers on it, that's why he's like kind of falling off, is that he's not as useful as he once was. And
Right.
that just kind of makes him not as strong. So what I was thinking when I was looking at your draft, I was like, okay, we got to make sure Tinker lives, because you can TP Phoenix and like help out someone who's like really tanky and exist, but Tinker doesn't have much life. If he gets jumped, yeah, you can heal him with your Ray, but it's not going to be anything significant compared to what like someone who just exists and deals damage back to you if you attack him. So what I was thinking is actually going for a Spirit Breaker band at the end. Like Disruptor's really
Yeah.
a really strong band. You're right, he destroys Tinker and Phoenix. So like maybe bump up that Disruptor early and then go like Spirit Breaker later on, because you're not gonna they're not gonna pick Spirit Breaker until you reveal that Tinker, and that fourth pick Tinker, like, yeah, it's that's pretty safe, and you can generally have, and where the draft goes, if they're able to pick up a guy fourth on top of you and you pick up Tinker and then they pick up Spirit Breaker, then you're screwed. So it would definitely depend on the first or second, but I feel like Spirit Breaker at the end is a really strong band. I totally understand Jug. Jug is like known to destroy Phoenix, and you can spin out of the mess that Tinker does. Like totally understand that, and Life Stealer makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So when I look at your bands, I feel like they're bands for if you actually changed your draft out of Axe. Like if you went
Yeah.
to Beastmaster, hell of a good bands, because you don't want Abaddon versus a Beastmaster. You use your big ult, and it's like, okay, I just shield him, and he just runs away
Right.
scot free. Um, and like if you have Axe, you can kind of deal with a Spirit Breaker, because Spirit Breaker dives past everyone, starts locking someone down, and then Axe jumps those guys and gets like a four-man call. So it's interesting. I like the setup of it, but I feel like there's some bans where it's like, okay, I see where you're going for, but I would maybe ban just a little bit different.
Right. Which is not trying to make an excuse for myself, but um, I definitely changed the bands like what was it, 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I shouldn't have changed them. I should have just left them because Juggernaut was in there. And then I was thinking about Lifestealer, and then I put who did I put instead of Lifestealer? Animage, I think. No, I don't know. I had Lifestealer at one point when I was writing my notes, but I just scribbled those two guys out because I figured the axe call, versus the BKB Pierce, it's not like a huge
Oh,
deal. Cause,
shoot, you actually did say anti-mage instead of jug. My bad. I'm sorry.
yeah, but no, I still get rid of the Juggernaut, like absolutely, because that hero would, even if you put him mid, I still think he destroys a Tinker mid. Like
Mhm.
he lasers you and you like get up near him, like you're still able to spin that off and like you're still able to kill him, and your ult like immediately kills him pretty much. So I think Juggernaut's still a good ban. The Abaddon, I agree. I just feel like I said, kind of with Centaur, like he actually hasn't been picked up as often as I thought he would at the DAC tournament, but he's still a good hero. And so I was just thinking, like, what annoying hero would I want to ban? So I just picked Abaddon, but I would think against a Beastmaster, like that's a number one ban, absolutely. But against an Axe, it's probably not.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the Juggernaut Spirit Breaker is really good. Um, so yeah, yeah,
Okay, so real quick, I gotta throw in some wrenches into your draft. See what you would do to react here. If Earth Spirit was banned out, how would you fix that first pick? Because like it's possible people see Earth Spirit, they see that you have an Earth Spirit player on your team. If you're planning for that, they're like, okay, I don't want to deal with that guy. He's got too much lockdown. He's got too much things available to him. What would you do from there? What
okay.
hero
I
would you
probably
pick?
pick I probably pick the Vengeful first, I think,
Hmm.
and then my second pick would be the replacement hero because that's the main reason why I put him first. Is like you said, people like still ban that hero even if like there's like that I don't want to deal with that hero, they just ban him, or if they know that you have a good player, good Earth Spirit player, they ban him. So
Hmm.
um, I would probably change it. I'd put Venge first, I think. And there's different directions you can go. You can go with like any ganking hero. You can go with um, like a tree. I don't know. Tree would be okay. He's still got the lockdown, but I don't know. like a Treant or a Marana. You could go Spirit Breaker instead of Earth Spirit. Like any ganking hero would do well. Tusk would be pretty well, I think.
Mhm.
Um, so something to just kind of replace that Earth Spirit, like that does essentially almost the same thing, but not obviously nobody does the exact same thing. I think a Monkey King would be okay.
There you go. I was waiting for it. I was hearing that Monkey King. I was like, oh man, that Monkey King. After watching last night, I was just like, oh man, I hope he mentions Monkey King because I thought that hero was dead, and then I saw that game and I was like, wow. All right, well,
Yeah.
they proved me wrong immediately, uh, in good fashion. The pros kind of have that mentality. They're like, I know when a hero's broken. Don't worry about it, guys. We're gonna play it even when it seems like that he's been nerfed into the ground and still do really well with
Well,
him.
yeah, and then like the main thing with him that just irritates me playing in games is how fast he's able to jump and release from trees, right? So he jumps in a tree, and it's essentially like he has a blink with a really low, with a low cooldown,
Hmm.
because he's jumping from the trees and then jumping into the trees. The vision isn't as good, but then he's able to immediately jump down. He doesn't have to wait for that whole thing to go off. It's still a slow. He's still able to hit you. Oh, it's just that
Right.
hero is good. So yes, I was waiting. I was thinking like Monkey King, Monkey King. Yeah, Monkey King would be pretty good, I think. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't offer any more of the stylized of like pushing at all. Obviously, there's not that, but I mean, having, especially if you're keeping with the ideal of Axe or even Beastmaster, the incredible use there. Just be able to use your ultimate on top of an axe is crazy good, and having um, the availability of just getting more attack speed on a Monkey King is incredible from coming
Yeah.
out with a Beastmaster. So I like it fitting into both lineups. The only thing that I was like, I'd maybe go this is I was thinking about obviously Slaughter support. I still think he's a very strong point right now, and he has a lot of potential. Giving that stun slow combo that he has, he has a lot to offer there. Looking at the other side of things, though, I was actually thinking. We were saying that Spirit Breaker was a ban that needed to happen. I'm thinking maybe Spirit Breaker is a pick for this team. If you're not worried about the push potential, which Earth Spirit doesn't already offer, you have a guy to get around the map. They won't pick up Tinker. If they see that Spirit Breaker is picked, they're not going to pick up a Tinker. And
Mm.
it almost like kind of solidifies that. Now they might ban it because you have it, and they just don't want to deal with it, which is something was actually my next question. Tinker's pretty popular, man. How would you secure that pick as a fourth pick? Like, how are you going to, if they keep the Earth Spirit, let's say, and you get to pick the Earth Spirit Venge, and you lose the Tinker, would you just say, "Nah, I'm not going to go this draft. I'm going to like switch it up and go something else besides Phoenix"? Because without Laser, it's kind of hard to get that egg off and working. Or would you go for like that Medusa mid that you were talking about before?
Um, I think Medusa mid would be okay. I think a Puck mid wouldn't be terrible. It still provides that extra burst damage. Plus, you already have a Veil,
Hmm.
or he can go Veil. Either way.
Works well with
So I think
the Theo for sure. Phoenix would be incredible with
mhm.
the core having that availability of adding that extra magic damage for sure.
Right, and then Coil, while Ag's going off, it's not. They're able to still hit it if you, depending on where you place the coil. But if you place it correctly and they're not exactly like right on top of the egg, or you place the egg correctly away from the drink coil, far enough, like they're either snapping the coil or um, they're just not able to hit it. So I think that would work out decently. Um,
Hmm.
and then maybe an invoker. Invoker would be okay. I think. Is it freezing field? Is that what it is, or ice path or something? What the hell is it? Ice wall. I think ice wall would be good
Hmm.
um, with the Phoenix Egg. So if you're wanting to combo with the Phoenix Egg still, I think there's other heroes that you could go with, like I said, like the Invoker Puck, the Dusa.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to apologize to anyone who's listening right now. I know that there's a lot of rushing water sounds like there's going by. I am not the highest. paid person, so I don't live in like the best quality situation, and the pipes are like right next to my ear. So if you do hear the background noise, I sincerely apologize. I'm sorry about that. Um, sorry, man. I didn't want to like interrupt your flow, but
Oh
uh,
no, dude.
it's
I can
been like
hardly hear it.
okay, it's been bothering me
But
this
yeah.
whole time. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't believe this is happening right now.
See,
Um,
here's what you need to do. You need to go get somebody to live with that is a leasing agent. 'Cause, like, this apartment is great and it's for free because my fiance is a leasing agent.
nice.
That's just the easiest way to do it. You just find someone that's a leasing agent.
Yeah.
Put it out on Craigslist or something. Anyway, sorry.
Nah, you're good. You're right. I gotta improve the home somehow. Maybe there's a Patreon will come in and I get that sweet apartment money. But no, it's all good. So all right, we got these picks, we got these bands set up, and we kind of have discussed different like flaws that are coming out of it that you can kind of maybe answer to at the last minute, these last minute picks in general, because let's be honest, I don't see Venge, Axe, or Phoenix getting banned, especially by the end of the game, unless, I mean, he has seen some love, obviously, already in the DAC tournament, unless Phoenix is, like, crazy good after these changes, which, he's good. I don't see him going into a epic level at this point.
Right.
There's
It's not like what was it, the Shanghai major where he was picked, or like one of the majors where he was picked a ton.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it was Shanghai that he was just like picked constantly every game. And even then, he was picked. He wasn't even banned a lot of times because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of times where people were like, okay, well, you just ban out the heroes that are useful with him, and then people will stop picking him. And then people still picked him because he's awesome. The old Sunray was incredible.
Yeah.
But all right, we've talked about the picks and bans. Items though, how are you going to itemize? And we'll go with your original five: Earth Spirit, Venge, Axe, Tinker, and Phoenix. How are you going to itemize these heroes, Kimbrell?
Okay, so I feel like with Earth Spirit, it's just the mana boots, the Orb of Venom, and an urn, and then maybe Veil on him. I haven't really fully decided if I wanted Veil on him or Phoenix, since Phoenix is technically the five position support. So I'm not really sure where I would place the Veil, but there is a Veil on this team somewhere. It's either on Phoenix or Earth Spirit, I think. There's probably another item, like a Force Staff in there that I would go with. And then with Vengeful, Treads, Pike, and then I really like Diffusal. Fafnir played Venge the other day, or I would say like 2 weeks ago, and picked up the Diffusal. It was great for the game that we were in, and it just absolutely destroyed the hero that we were against. And it was just like, that's great. Like, that item was amazing on her. So I think a Diffusal, depending on the game, there might be a different item that's better. Like you mentioned, Desta's not a popular item, but it might be better. Or a Manta style is probably pretty good. Or you could even do Diffusal Manta, since Diffusal you can't diffuse anything off yourself anymore.
Right.
Axe, I would do the typical Axe build, like a Blink, Blade Mail, and then Piper Crimson, and then a Force Staff or BKB or something like that. Tinker, I don't play that hero. If there's any mid that takes any there's any complexity to it, I've probably not played it. However, I would say typical Tinker items like Soul Ring, Bots, Blink. Eventually, like, you want some damage, but eventually I do think you want a Sheepstick. And then the Ags. My bad. After Blink, I don't know if you would go Ags right after Blink, but you definitely want it at some point.
Yeah, Ags, you'd probably want to actually get the availability of dealing extra damage so you can blow people up by going into the Aether. Some people obviously don't go that build. I'm still personable to it because I like just the amount of damage that you can do, and I think it's still very useful having that general range with laser being able to shoot even further. So I personally like that style of build. I don't necessarily think that you have to go it, because if you can get that Ags really fast, then it fits your draft, right? If you can get that bouncing laser, then Phoenix is going to always exist. And if you can have the egg always hit, that's pretty much a one-team fight. So, Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I like the Aether too. I think Kyra actually goes Aether, Ags. Uh, Aether's definitely a good item. Um, and then on Phoenix, we'll just go Mana Boots. I feel like I would go Mech, depending on what kind of farm you get. Which, if your team fights are going well, you should be getting a decent time Mech for that position.
hmm
And then, like I said earlier, with the Veil, like I don't know if I would put it on our Spirit or Phoenix.
I think
And
whoever
if
you're putting the mech on and you're going for the Greaves for, the other guy goes for the Veil because you want that early
right,
Veil potential. It has a lot of early game existence and it does a lot. Obviously, magic damage is a little bit stronger earlier game than late, and let's be honest, the pieces for it are just phenomenal early game. Health regen,
yeah.
armor, stats, fantastic stuff. You want that early game. You want that possibility of what it can bring you. So, I makes sense. Are you going to my question is though, all right, so you have Earth Spirit and Phoenix. Who gets the urn? Because both heroes really love the urn. I gotta say, having a Phoenix, you're losing a lot of health constantly, especially if you're maybe going for a mech build on him. Which I feel like if I'm going to mech build, I think I'm gonna put it on Earth Spirit. So if I'm going for mech on Earth Spirit, then I'd probably have the urn on Phoenix.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
but then,
I think you can, like I was saying, Veil. You can kind of switch, and like you said, if the hero that's going for the mech mana boots eventually Greaves, probably shouldn't be going for the Veil. It should probably be the other hero. So um, I think Earth Spirit, I think Earth Spirit could go for the mech, and then you give the urn and the Veil to Phoenix, because also the which skill is it that requires mana? I mean, Phoenix with the mana regeneration is always good as well. And then, like you said, he's always losing health, so you're able to earn yourself. So yeah, I like the earn on Phoenix. I think.
thing is, though, is you're not going to be as part of as many kills, especially in the beginning. You
Yeah.
have that Phoenix keeping people alive, using Sunray to just generally keep that fight. Though I do agree with you, right? I mean, if you are TPing correctly, you have the right momentum. Earn's definitely going to be better on a person who doesn't already have mech. So there's kind of a give and take there, and I was just kind of asking for my own edification of like, all right, Kimber, what would you do in this scenario type thing? I for one like to split it up, but there's there's
hmm
there's definitely a lot of different trains of thought. And on my bounty hunter, I always build urn and I always build mech. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to put all your chips in one heal bot. Um, but yeah, uh, what? So you got all these items for these guys. Is there Let's switch it up just one more time. If you got a Beastmaster, would the items change at all? And one other question: would you consider doing Maelstrom on Venge? Because I think Maelstrom gives you the availability of farming, kind of gives you a lot of potential for moving through a strong potential of just getting those auto attacks in. Maelstrom's just pretty strong right now. Do you think that that's worth it to grab that before maybe going Deso because you need that push potential as well? What what's the item choice of that, and then
Well,
what's the item choice of Beastmaster?
if you're going, yeah, I mean, I think you can get the Maelstrom before the Fusel or Deso. I think that's fine. I don't. I haven't played much Vengeful Carry. I think I played it. I played it once on my Smurf so far recently.
Mhm.
So I think a Maelstrom would be good though. She kind of farming with her kind of sucks, to be honest. And farming with the Maelstrom obviously is much faster. And then Beastmaster, uh, Blink would still be the first item. Well, it wouldn't be the first item. I don't know. With Beastmaster, I feel like going the Necro book first is always pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, I think we talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago with Beastmaster. I've seen a lot of people go Beast with the Necro books to level 2 and then get their Blink and then finish it off at level 3.
Mhm.
Depending on what you're up against, it just kind of depends on your item choices, but like your item order, not choices. But the Necro book, Blink, and then I think um, an AC would be fine. We also talked about last time I talked about Beastmaster. We talked about getting a helm on him, which would be kind of cool. Um, but yeah, I don't think the items change, but not that
No,
much. Like
not too
you're not going
drastically.
to get a blade mail or anything like that, but still, you like it's initially the same thing. Like you're initiating on something or someone. So
Makes a lot
the
of sense. I feel the
yeah.
same way. Now, one more question. I know I'm throwing a lot at you here. All right, so Spirit Breaker. If you were to pick up Spirit Breaker instead of the Earth Spirit, who's carrying that mech, man? Who's carrying that urn? So how's that switch up your support
Okay,
quota?
well, yeah, I think if you get Spirit Breaker takes the urn because you're going to be a part of a lot of kills, or you should be at least in the early game. And Phoenix, not so much. So the urn, you're going to have plenty of urn charges. It's almost I wouldn't say guaranteed kill, but every time you charge someone, you should have an earn charge, in my opinion. Like after you get the item and you kill someone, like you should have an earn charge to go on to that person that you're charging.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then I think you switch over the mech to Phoenix, and then you start kind of stuck. I don't know. You might not get the mech. I feel like mech is pretty necessary for the team fight you're doing, but you also like you want to veil on that team too. So
Well,
um,
well, it's also hard to, say that you want a mech on a hero that needs that mana to be able to ult, right?
right,
So I I hear
right.
you. And Veil gives you that mana, whereas mech kind of doesn't. Kind of takes
I
away
think
from
I
it.
would if you get the Spirit Breaker. I think I would go for the mana boots early veil, and then if you want the greaves, if you feel like you need them, then you can go for them. But I think the earlier veil, it's probably necessary since you don't have another hero to carry it. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of
I think
sense.
Spirit Breaker would fit really well in that lineup too.
Yeah, I love. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why he's not like picked always, but I like the potential of what he can do and just like put the fear of. I mean, he breaks people's spirits exactly. I mean, it's a
Right.
aptly named hero, right? So I love
Yeah, and
Space
then
Camp.
let's if you talk about like team fight wise, like people are heading towards the egg, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, we need to focus the egg. You got three heroes trying to focus it. Spirit Breaker can charge at the hero in the back and disrupt all of those heroes. So I think, yeah, would definitely be good. I think.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun, and it's just generally like you. A lot of times you have to have that setup, and it's cool to have like setup where you have like LC or Bane or something, and then you get like a Sunstrike. But having Fio with her Ray actually is like movable, so it's like setup that exists that you can like help the diving heroes at the same time that's doing a lot of damage and it's movable. So if he does get some lucky bashes, it's not gonna just screw everything up. Whereas other times it would. Uh, pretty pretty cool. I like it. All right, so do you have anything else you want to add to your draft? Anything that you want to like kind of say? I don't know. Anything else that you feel like that you haven't mentioned yet that I haven't asked you about?
I don't think so. Um, the only other thing, it's not really about the draft, was it's about Phoenix. With him being at the five position, essentially, he does have the skill. He got his goal per minute skill got buffed some more from 120 to 150 per minute. I want to say it's either level 10 or 15. So that's
It's
always good.
it's 15. It's 15.
15, yeah. So 150 goal per minute at level 15. I mean, by that time you should have your veil, but if you wanted to work towards that Greaves still, like that extra gold definitely helps. So that's not as much of a problem. But yeah,
Right.
besides that, there's really nothing else I had.
Yeah, and I mean on the other end of the spectrum, you can get the plus 65 damage now to the spirits, uh, whereas before
Right.
it was only 50. So I do have to tend to agree with you. You want those items on your Phoenix in this draft. And that's kind of how it ends up a lot of times in general. Whenever I play the hero, it's like, yeah, it's so nice to have that extra damage, but I'm a support. I need to be generally helping people out in the scenarios than doing damage myself. And it's fun. It's fun. It's good. It's good to have. So all right, I'm gonna move on to rate my beer type situation. We're going into our beers. Are since you introduced your beer first, I will let you go first this time, Kimbrell. How do you rate your beer with Thunderclaps?
Okay. So Like I mentioned earlier, I haven't had one of these since I was a young lad, 21-year-old, as we said earlier. Not a minor, right?
Right, right.
um, it's not bad. It's not as bad as I used to think. I think the reason is um, since then I've gotten a lot more used to beer, and I've actually preferred the stronger types, just darker beers and such. So, and Corona's kind of a light beer, so I would probably give it. Back in the day, I would have given it like a 1 out of 5 thunderclaps. Now it's probably, I don't know, probably a 3.5. It's not bad.
Wow,
Um, I would
generous.
probably I would probably drink something else, but it's I would do like a 3. I haven't tried it with the lime and salt like everyone else does. I feel
Yeah.
like salt doesn't belong in beer. It's just my opinion. I'm a salt fanatic. I'm probably gonna die because of that. However, I don't think it belongs in beer. But I haven't tried the salt and lime thing yet. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would probably give it I would give it a 3 out of 5 thunderclaps.
Yeah, I like lime. I don't know about salt too. Those belong in margaritas and those belong on fries, but not much for the beer. Having salt with beer either. Now I gotta say, Frozen, once again, thank you for doing all this for me. And the Torvash is really good. I do not like stouts. I personally kind of try to stay away from them because I don't drink a lot of beer in general in my private life. So I like the big hits of what stouts generally do are just a little too bitter for me. I gotta say though, if you like coffee and you like your beer stronger, this is really good. Like crazy good. I I would generally not want to drink a stout, and I had two mugs full, so gotta drink real quick. But the the taste of this is just very strong, but it's incredibly smooth. It doesn't make me want to like smack my lips because like it's just too much hops in it or anything. And it's 11%. It's 11.2%. So it's strong, and I could feel it by now. So if you're ever in California and you ever want to try some barbecue and some beer, I would go to Beachwood and try out this Torvish. I'm gonna be trying more as the month goes on, and probably all the way into April and a little bit into May. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try out their other stuff. Um,
We should just make that the official beer of this entire thing, right? Because it's back to coffee flavors, so we got the coffee with Toffees, and then we got the beer, so we got the Brewmaster. See, it just fits. We
yeah,
should just
exactly. Torvish is. I didn't even put those together. That's why we have you here, Kimbrell. 'Cause you link everything together and make it perfect. All right, we got this. So, is there anything else you want to say about the beer, or you want to move
how
on to the
many
closeout?
how many thunderclaps would you give it?
Oh, jeez. See, I am feeling it. I almost forgot to rate it. All right, so I don't even like stout, and I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Like,
Nice.
this is an incredible beer. If I was a beer connoisseur, I think that everyone would love this, especially if you like coffee. I I'm actually not big on either one, and I still love this beer. So, as much as a rating as I can give for that, it's definitely a 4 out of 5. So, all right.
Very good.
That brings it to the end of our show. Unless Kimbrel, I don't want to cut you off here. You got anything you want to say?
No, I'm just ready to play Dota. Pretty much. That's about
Yeah,
it.
me too. All right, let's close this baby out. All right, so to help us out, you can subscribe or like any of our videos. Our Twitch channel is twitch.tv/toffees_Dota2. Our YouTube channel is 5 Minus Gaming. If you want to listen to any of our VODs, you can listen to them at Stitcher, iTunes, or SoundCloud. Not our VODs. If you want to listen to a podcast instead of a VOD, man, really feeling it. Sorry, guys. And then if you want to give to our Patreon, you can give to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Toffees. If you have any questions for me, Toffees, or Kimbrel, you can follow us at our different Twitter pages. You can follow Toffees at Toffees TV. You can follow me on my Twitter at FlubbDota. And you can follow Kimbrel at his Twitter at skimbrel with a little tail at the end with the underscore, as always. And hopefully he'll get another underscore going, like People always joked about getting more B's. I'm gonna joke about getting more underscores, and I think he may have earned at least half of an underscore this week with his draft. So we'll move on from there though. All right. So if you guys have any casting gigs, anything that you want me to do in general, anything that you're interested in talking to me about, you can always email me at crazyflubb@gmail.com. Well, I am glad that was able to share a beer with you guys today, and such a great beer as that. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. I'm happy you were here, and I'll catch you later.
Bye, everyone.